Hey, what's up everyone? Tim here from Everyday Tactical Vids, and today I want to share with you my Bushcraft base camp. So you've probably seen videos that I've shot that have been here at the Bushcraft base camp, but I've never really given a full rundown of what the camp is made of and a little bit of the background, and we're going to do that today. So the base camp is made of a mix of natural materials and also repurposed materials. You can see right there, I've got a wall that's made of some old pallet wood I just tore apart, and I used part of the pallets for that. I've got another wall that's made of the same thing. And then I've got a lot of, wood and stuff that I've cut and trimmed to put the base camp together. I've got a few different purposes for the base camp. One is just to get out in nature. Another one is, for me, it's a place that I can shoot videos. And then a third one is a place where I can bring my family. So my son, my daughter, and my wife. So you'll see it's a mix of kind of earthy stuff. And then also I made it so if we wanted to go out here and like do an overnight, we could do that as well. So let me take you around the camp. So I'll start here with my fire pit. You can see I've got a ring of rocks around there, and then I've got rocks all on the bottom of it as well, just to add a little bit, another level of safety. I've got 2 rocks in there so I can put a grill on top. So if I want to do some cooking, I can do that. I've got my Y stick here and another one on the other side, so I can put something across if I want to, boil some water for tea or something like that. And I've got 2 what I used to call reflectors, but the more research I'm doing, they may not be reflecting much heat. They may just be wind blocks, but I got one there and one there as well. All right, right in front of us, you've got my bench, and I had a buddy up the road who was cutting down a ton of pine trees. So he basically cut me those 2, I guess essentially legs or bases of the bench, and then cut that other piece for me. And then I'll show you another one that's similar, but I use it more as a workbench. All right, so this is a little bit outside the immediate area of the camp, but this is where I do a lot of feather sticks and do some chopping and stuff when I'm working on different projects. Eventually what I want to do is actually drill a hole down in here and over there as well, and put a peg down in so it connects nicely to the base there, so it's a little bit more sturdy. But this is where I do some of my gear testing. What I've got right here is a moose skull, and I actually found one of the antlers, or I think they might be called plates if I remember. I can't totally remember what they're called, but anyhow, whatever the proper terminology is, I found one side with a couple buddies hiking, and then we found the skull on the other one. So I bleached it, and we put it up here, and now it's hanging on a tree right now. But eventually we're going to put it up on the front of the actual shelter. All right, I want to take you around the shelter now. We'll start by talking about the ladder here. So when I originally built the ladder, I put all the pieces together with jute twine, and that was a terrible choice because the jute twine just broke down when it was exposed to the weather. So since I want it nice and strong, what I did was I put screws right through here, and now it's very stable. And again, my kids are out here, so I don't want this thing to break while they're climbing up or climbing down. So that's my my ladder to get up onto what I call the platform. All right, so as far as the actual structure of the platform, I just had a ton of old like 2x4s, 2x6s, 2x8s, things kicking around. So it's basically an 8x8 square, and pretty much the only things I bought as far as wood was just the plywood. Everything else was just like scrap wood I had kicking around. So I brought it out to the woods, and yeah, it's like you can see, I've got 2x4s here. I got it like a 2x8 as one of the support beams, and I just got 2 pieces of plywood, and so now it's a big square that we can actually just hang out on. I originally had it kind of like lean-to style, but you could see I've changed the roof just because the pitch was so steep that water was coming in, and we've had at least 2 rainstorms since I've put this type of angle of roof on, and it's doing well. There's a tiny little bit of water that gets on the front, but we'll eventually put like a little extra roof over that section, but it's definitely keeping out the water at this point, which is a huge win because I could actually sleep out here now and don't have to worry about getting rained on. All right, down underneath here, I've just got my stack of firewood. It is a little bit close. I probably want to move that back a little bit, but it has stayed mostly dry in general. I used to not cut firewood, but just as far as storage, it's easier to cut them all to a similar length. So I just have my Baco Laplander out here, and then my Corona out here as well. And more recently, I've been using a silky saw. And yeah, just cutting them to length and then storing the wood up there so they're nice and dry and ready to be used. So as far as actual trees when it comes to the shelter, this tree right here is actually, I mean, it's still in the ground. So you can see that goes up like this. And I've got the platform built into it right there you can see where it's attached. I do have a tree here that offers some structure, and I've got a beam that goes across to keep the tarp up, and that's those are cut from the woods, and then I brought them over and basically dug a hole and put that in the ground so it'd be nice and stable. I attached it there, and now it's part of the support structure for the roof. Like I mentioned before, that wall right there on the left side and then on the right side as well, those are both made of repurposed pallet wood. So I just basically tore the pallets apart and used the wood I needed. So I've got a support beam there, and then across the back, and then same thing over here. And those are all trees that I cut down, but that's pallet wood for those two walls. On the back wall, I have a bunch of wood that I cut, and I'm just putting those up and then putting a wood screw in the back. And so we'll have an all natural, as far as the wood, all natural back wall. Another thing I'm going to do on the back wall is actually put some clear plastic there that I can roll up and get out of the way, but so it'll keep the wind and the rain out. And like I said, in this front section, like up here, what I'm going to do is put like an extended little roof on, so we'll keep the rain out there as well. Over here on the side, I keep a bunch of tools that I use. So I've got a large baton that you can actually get two hands on. Then I've got a smaller baton here. And then this was an old paddle I had for a canoe, so I cut it off and I use it to wave it at the fire to get the fire going a little bit more. And then I've got my favorite stick I use to poke the fire to make sure it's going strong. Let me give you a couple wide angle shots of the Bushcraft base camp. Let me talk about the roof real quick. Obviously, it's a tarp. What I did was I put a bunch of hooks on the side here, not for every single grommet hole, but I did, I think, like every other one. And so that way, if the wind blows, eventually this'll catch. But it is, I mean, it's quite secure. And on the other side, I just have some screws right now, but I'm gonna put some hooks on that side as well. One of the challenges is you got to get the tarp that fits like the exact right size, you know, up to the certain pitch and then down to the other side, which is a little bit of work. And like I said before, I've got this right here, this piece of wood that goes up to the top and then across the back, and then I'll show you the one I have on the back. Basically just creates there's two Ys, and there's a support beam that the tarp goes up and over. And here's the one in the back. So like I often say, I'm more of an outdoorsman than a hunter. But Hunt Vault sends me stuff every month to check out and to review as I unbox their monthly subscription box. And they sent me this handle that you can attach via webbing to a tree, so when you're climbing up to your tree stand, you got something strong to hold on to. And so I built this little platform for my kids, and I'm going to add a little bit more to it, but it's just a way they can kind of get up high and look out. And it is a nice place. It's sturdy enough even for me, so I can get up there and just kind of hang out and observe the woods. I've got a trail cam out behind me in the woods, and I've seen a lot of animal activity, so this is a place I can also go to just see what's happening in the woods. As far as gear that I actually keep out here at the Bushcraft Base Camp, I've got a waterproof Tupperware box, and inside that I keep my Canadian Prepper bug out roll. So I keep that set up with a bunch of gear so that I can just grab a hold of things that I need. So I've got like a big knife, I've got some other tools in there, I got some cooking tools, fire starter, med kit, all that stuff immediately accessible to me. And I keep it underneath the tarp so that it doesn't get rained on, and then I keep it in a waterproof box as well. I'll probably do a separate video at some point to tell you what I actually keep in my bug out roll at the base camp, but I just want to give you an overview of the camp today. So there you have it. This is the Bushcraft Base Camp. My daughter was thinking about naming it Smokey Pines because there's pine trees around and we have fires going all the time, so maybe we'll carve a sign and put it out front at some point. But yeah, let me hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear your feedback. What do you think overall, and then maybe some encouragements or additions that you would add to this camp. All right, guys, thanks as always for checking out the videos here on YouTube. Please subscribe to Everyday Tactical Vids if you haven't done so already. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, check us out on Instagram, Tumblr, and Vero as well. More videos coming soon. Take care.